growing your, through social media. And that's why I'm saying that, because I think like Ashley and I have like a relationship probably more through social media than we do in person, similar to many of you here. I've not met people that are on our Zooms all the time. And I just think it's really cool because that's the way that the world is going. That's the way that the world is working. I laugh all the time because Zane plays Roblox. It's like a love-hate relationship I have with it. I don't let him play with people he doesn't know, but like people from preschool that he gets to play with online. And I just love that because it gives him like an opportunity to stay friends with people that he's not in the same school with anymore. And it's like social media. And I think I said this last week, but like how bizarre it can be sometimes that we like add people from high school or from like past walks of life. And then we get on there and we're kind of just like watching each other. We're not saying anything. We're not talking. We're just like, oh yeah, I remember I just saw Kelly did this, but like you didn't even like it. Or, it's just bizarre to me the way that people act sometimes on social media. So some of the stuff I'm going to give you today is so that you can start being more social. And I used to hate this term, this know, like, and trust factor, because I think honestly, I just didn't understand it. And so I'm going to talk to you about it today, give you some tools and some actions, because honestly, I think that's the most important. But I want to start with, I opened up this book that Jess gave us. I know Kristen has one. I can't remember where she gave this to us. I think it was a mastermind, but it's Leadership Promises for Every Day. It's by John Maxwell. It's a daily devotional. It does have like a lot of faith-driven, Bible verses, but today's was all about insecure leadership. And the first thing says insecure leaders are dangerous, not only to their team, but to themselves. So I thought that was very bizarre that I was going to talk about know, like, and trust factor today. And that was the first thing that I opened up in here, because I think sometimes you have to realize that like you might be your biggest halt in your business. Most of the time you're like, I want more people to talk to. I want more engagement. I want all this stuff. But that really starts with you. Jenny, it's called Leadership Promises for Every Day. Actually, I'll post a picture in the Hustle and Slay page afterward. I'll take a picture of the book. I love it. She gave it to me, I think in January, and I don't catch up every single day, but like I'll start over again in January and just, even if you're not faith driven, but if you are, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes like I open up, my daily devotional and it's always what I need to hear. So I think that's too why it was bizarre, if you will, that I was able to talk about that or see that today and then talk about this today. And I think it's so important because I don't care if you don't have anybody on your team. You are a leader, not only just for your team, but in your life. And if you're doing it insecurely, if you're doing it out of fear, not only can people smell that, right? But you're doing it like for desperation. You're not enjoying it. Let's be honest. It's feeling like a chore. It's feeling like, and that's why I see so many people struggle to show up on social media because they don't really like doing it, or they don't know what they like. They haven't found it yet. Like, I giggle, but everybody was all like, TikTok is so dumb. It's for kids and blah, blah, blah. And I've literally heard so many people say that before. I was listening to a podcast from Jessie Lee Ward saying she swore to her team that she would never be on there. And she went on there. Now she's got like hundreds of thousands of followers. She's live on there like all day long. But it's because it's a platform where everybody's eyes are going all the time. Your kids are on it. You're on it. I mean, to be honest, I think every time I need something, like if you looked at my search thing on TikTok, it's like how to home remedies for ear infection, how to make hummus. I made hummus yesterday. It was really good. It's a full on search engine for people with videos that are 60 seconds or less and teaching people what and how to do. But every time I get like a recipe from somebody or a good business tip, it's like I immediately start following them because I'm like, oh, I'm going to get more value from them, right? And so I'm going to start with a little quote that I read this morning, and it was Tony Robbins. He had, how he has his like in-person events, and someone said that they were scared of success. And he said that you don't have a fear of success, you have a fear of loss. And it's really once you get started and you start becoming successful, what are the things that you're going to lose when you're committed to that process? So when you're committed to this process, right, what do I lose if I succeed? Maybe it's comfort. Maybe it's, you're in health and wellness and you've got to give up eating Taco Bell, but that's what you enjoy. Maybe it's Netflix because you know that you binging, you probably should be working your business. Maybe it's friends who are toxic and do not believe in your business. Maybe it's family who just pulls you down. You are going to have to get uncomfortable to see growth. It's not a cliche statement, it's a fact. And sometimes you are going to have to let go of things that make you feel super comfortable in order to go further. And I love this quote. I keep seeing it everywhere too. God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. So don't ever feel like you're not worthy enough to do anything. You just have to get started and have belief in where you're going. And I love that, honestly, for social media so much, because I think people want to put on this persona that your life is perfect. You go to all these really nice places, you have a nice car. But a lot of those people who are doing that on the inside, you guys, are the most sad people. Or on the inside, like you see people on TikTok and they have all these followers and then they have like a GoFundMe in their profile. Like they're not making any money. They're not happy. So be the person that's able to stand out and be happy with what you're doing, that's able to create a solution for people, that's just honest and open with people. I do my lives all the time, like, because I think it's super important to be vulnerable and to get people to get to know you and get to know what you're about. And I made a post about this a couple weeks ago and had people message me where the last year I just kind of struggled with like, what the heck am I doing? Like I felt like a paper bag floating in the wind. I was like, can someone like tie me down somewhere? I felt just like I needed to find something that was making me feel a little bit more purposeful. And I think, if you're a mom, especially, sometimes we lose ourselves in mom zone. We're like making lunches and stuff. And then when everybody leaves the house, you're like, oh, what do I do now? And I think it's just important that you understand that lots of people are in that space, but until you step into the zone where you're secure enough in yourself and your business to be on social media and say, hey, you know what? I struggled today. Okay. And it is what it is. Like you struggle too, tomorrow's a new day. So many of us are so scared to do that because we think, oh, so-and-so is not going to join my business if they don't know that I didn't hit a rank that I wanted to, or if they don't know that, I didn't go on this vacation with everybody else. Like everybody's lives are different. Okay. But we kind of all have the same things that we struggle with, the same insecurities that we deal with. So one thing that I've learned in the last 7 years of entrepreneurship is people buy you before they buy whatever product you have. They're going to solely buy into you and what you have to offer for them. If you were selling, if I thoroughly, and I've done it before, I've like thoroughly enjoyed someone and then they are like, oh, I sell makeup. And I'm like, oh, I don't really wear makeup. Let me buy a mascara. Like, I don't know, crap, just let me buy something because I just like you, right? Most of the time people join people in a business before they know what a product is. I joined Jessica in business because, one of two things. I saw the rock on her finger and I was like, wow, that's amazing. She's definitely going somewhere with that. And then I just enjoyed her, like, I knew her for probably 5 minutes and I just knew for a fact that her leadership, just in the 5 minutes of talking to her, that she was going to be a bat for me. She was going to be able to help me get to where I wanted to go. It didn't really matter that I didn't know about the business or really the product at that time. I joined a person, right, based on them before even knowing about what the business is. And I'm sure a lot of you can say the same thing. Maybe you joined a person in a business because you were like, I just love them. They seem successful. They seem like they know what the heck they're doing. I get that. I hear that a lot from people. They're like, oh, I joined because I've watched you create success before, right? Like even now, Jess said we were going and selling paper bags of dog doo-doo on the porches. I'd be like, let's go, let's do it. We're going to make $1 million doing it because I already know she knows how to do it. She knows the path. Let's go. I'll knock on doors all day. But most of the time this happens through relationship building and it happens through this know, like, and trust factor. And I know that gives people the heebie-jeebies because it gives me the heebie-jeebies. And the know, like, and trust factor, I don't want you to like dive too far into that because actually at the end of this, I'm going to give you 31 days of posts, reels, lives, whatever you want to feel the most comfortable with, but ideas to build that on your social media. But I'm going to be honest with you, you're going to have to, and you don't have to do every single day, but it's just 31 ideas, right? You can pick and choose, but you've got to like do them to start feeling a little bit vulnerable, a little bit, giving people an opportunity to get to know you, because they can't love you without getting to know you. They can't like you without getting to know you. They can't trust you without getting to know you. And a lot of the times people will know and like, and they'll buy your product. But when they trust you, they partner with you. When they trust you and know where you can go and what you can do, they will partner with you for everything. Okay. So that's why I'm saying too, I'm talking about Jess here. Like we've known each other for 7 years, and she knows for a fact in the rest of her business career, I'm right hand. Like whatever we're doing, we're doing. Um, so think about this, right? Know, like, trust. So the know part of it is, who are you? You have to give people an opportunity to get to know you. When they think of you, what are some things that they think of? This would probably be a great social media post. Actually, I just had a little light bulb moment, or squirrel moment, whatever you want to call it. Think about a social media post. I remember actually Eric Rory doing this like a couple years ago. I knew who was in his mastermind because I saw a bunch of people making the same post. But maybe make a post, when you think of me, what are 3 things that come to mind? And allow people on your social media to say that. Hey, business, working out, tacos. Like I know for me, it would be all those 3 things. Joking around, things like that. Because then it will give you an opportunity too, you guys, because I know that Jess is going to keep taking this superpower thing to the next level and keep bugging you about it and keep allowing you to figure that out, because that's a part of your brand. You'll be able to brand yourself around your superpower. And so if you don't really know about yourself, which is fine, I just told you I was a paper bag floating in the wind like 6 months ago. So I didn't know either, but I had to go around to friends and say, hey, what do you like about me? Hey, what are some things or some qualities that make you keep coming around me, right? So that's great for your social media, because your audience and your, people that are already watching you. And I think so many of us, we don't use this tool enough. When you do stuff like that, and let's say 5 people comment, I want you to really think, have you engaged with those 5 people lately? Because those 5 people are consistently watching you and engaging with your stuff. And you're probably out trying to just work with your new network and forget the 5 or 6 or 2, doesn't even matter. But there are people who are consistently engaging with you. It's almost like they're waiting for you to be like, hey. But we're kind of scared, and I don't understand this necessarily, but I do it too. Okay, so I'm not calling you out, but what the heck are we scared of asking people stuff through the freaking internet? You're hiding behind a screen. Imagine someone saying no to your face at Target. Okay, that would make me like, oh. Or no to your face at like a business meeting. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I just want to hide underneath a hole. Get me in the car, get the bill. Can we get the bill? I don't know why that always comes to my head. But think about, you're behind a screen. You got to start asking people questions. You've got to start engaging. Hey, Michelle, what makes you engage with me? Like, what do you enjoy about me? Or, hey, what are you up to? Like, start asking questions that will lead to answers. This is not what I wanted to talk about, but I want to share this with you guys because I have too many screens up. I was on Ray Higdon's live on Friday. He does free coaching Fridays. And I was like, what are your best tips for closing? So I find that's what most people struggle with. He said, say less to more people and understand position. Most people are trying to pitch out of position. Ask closing questions before they've gotten to the right position. So you're asking people to, before we've got them in that correct spot, how are you going to know where they're at if you're not asking them those questions on social media? What's up with you? What's new with you? Maybe they're like, you know what? I just left the business and I feel like a paper bag floating in the wind. And then you can go, oh, wow, that's, I actually have a business. Maybe I can show it to you. Maybe it'd be an opportunity you would enjoy. Maybe they just lost somebody super important in their life. And you can be the person that's like, you know what? I'm so sorry to hear that. If you need anything from me, I'm here to help you. So it's about positioning. And even in this know, like, and trust factor, right? Go after people, not after people, that sounds bad, but go after them trying to listen more. Trying to just say, hey, what's new with you? And allow people to tell you that so that you can figure out what your position is to figure out what your pitch is going to be. I hope that makes sense. Your like factor is going to be, do I like you? Do they like you? Okay. And this is like what I talked about last week. Not everybody's going to like you. And I need you to let go of that. That's okay. It's not a big deal. If someone doesn't like you, they really shouldn't even be on your page. Social media is free. It's free to unfriend too. So do not suck yourself into that a little bit. I had someone make a very nasty comment on one of my posts the other day and start talking about someone I do business with. And they were like, don't do business with her. And I was like, ma'am, who invited you here? Like, hello, what? And then she's like, oh, I'm leaving now. I'm like, this is not an airport. You don't need to announce your departure. Just leave. Like, hello. Don't worry about that, okay? There are going to be plenty of people who are on your page that are liking your stuff, but that is important. You need to be liked by the people who are going to trust you and join you and partner with you. And then the trust factor, right? Do I trust you? There's a couple things when it comes to trust: competence, caring, consistency, and commitment. which is also, again, kind of bizarre because competence was the top thing on here. Competence doesn't compensate for insecurity. Wow, that's weird. So those things, though, are super important when it comes to trust. A lot of people, and I'm just putting this into perspective for you. I know for a fact a lot of people will join Jess and I in business because we're committed to business. We're committed to growth. We show up here every single Monday and Wednesday. We train people for free on stuff, on ways to grow their business in life, and in social media. And we do weekly team Zooms. We do all of the things. It does not matter where our business is at, because we all know this business has ebbs and flows. This industry has ebbs and flows. It's up and down, up and down. We have showed up consistently and committed always, no matter what. One thing I will not do is be a quitter at anything. I literally will stay up at night trying to figure out ways not to quit, because it's really hard to be the person who never gives up. Okay. So an effective way to build, we're going to call it the KLT factor to make it easier for you, is to just remember you have to start from the know stage and go from there. Okay. Someone has to get to know you, especially when it comes to your social media. That's why I think if everybody got off of here and did a post of when you think of me, what are 2-3 things that come to mind, just post that on your social media and see what people say. Because then you're going to see who really knows you or who wants to know you. Maybe people will like it and they don't say anything. And that will tell you, hey, I probably need to put myself out there a little bit more. And I hate to say this, but company graphics, sales, or a little quote thing here or there, or a picture of your dog and you're like, oh, isn't he cute? Those are not going to give people an opportunity to know you. They're not. They're just going to know, oh, you have a cute dog. Cool. People wanting an opportunity to know you is you getting, a little bit vulnerable on your page about what you do. And y'all, this 31-day list, like one of the things that I have on here, one of these days, I'm not going to have open this many tabs when I'm training, I promise. One of the things that I have on here is stuff that's going to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. But where's the one I had? Oh, the hardest lesson I've had to learn in my industry. So I want you to get on there and say, what's one of the hardest things that you've had to learn when it's come to working a business from home? Whether you do this, full-time, part-time, whatever. What's one of the hardest things you had to learn? One of the hardest things I had to learn was that I have to make sacrifices. Last Wednesday, we had a business meeting. My husband got strep throat and my son was being awarded by his school. And I had to make a choice. I couldn't take him because I had someone showing up to the meeting that signed up to join our business. So I had to make a choice, and that was a sacrifice that I had to make. But also I've made a lot of sacrifices in my business life to be in my son's life for the last 6 years. So you will have to make sacrifices. And I think it's just important that you label those so that people understand. They will get to know you when they know what's important to you. My kid wants a Switch for his birthday next week. So I was like, listen, we can't take you to this. I love you because you want to Switch. Mommy needs to buy that, right? Okay, thanks. Checked off. He was like, deal. I'm good. He got his award anyway, though, so he didn't really know what was going on anyway. But you have to start building that know factor, and how you are going to do that is just by putting more things about you. A great another post to do is like an all about me post. Do 5 things about you. Literally, though, 5 things that people wouldn't know. They wouldn't know. My favorite one to do when I do that is that I used to have blonde hair. The level of engagement I get with that, or I have 9 siblings. People are all like, what? From where? Do things like that are going to people go like, whoa, really? That's insane. That's super cool. Like Kristen could do, she's not here. She's probably on a flight. She could do like, hey, I biked 34 miles before anybody in the world is awake. That's a really true fact about her. But that will give people an opportunity to get to know you. And, one of the things I think that's important for people to understand is you can't just try to build trust right off the bat. That's why you have to give people an opportunity to get to know you and then enjoy you, right? Like when I look at some of my live videos, I love when people are commenting, they're like, hey, I love watching you here. That makes me fills my cup. I know that people are liking what they're seeing, right? And again, it's not for everybody, but you have to detach your emotions from that you are not going to be for everyone. And it's going to take some time to get to that level when people start trusting you. So you have to be patient as you work to develop that connection with your audience. It's not going to happen overnight. And too many of us, y'all, especially in this industry, and I'm going to say y'all because I'm not pointing at anyone in particular, but everybody wants quick, fast results. quick, fast success. That is not how this works. That's why in my 7 years, I have probably hundreds of people who didn't make it overnight, and so they quit. Okay, well, if you didn't lose 10 pounds overnight, you're going to quit. If your hair didn't grow overnight, you're going to shave it. Like if your kid didn't learn how to read overnight, you kicking them out. Think about when our kids were learning how to walk. If they didn't, walk the first time, we push them and we're like, oh, have a good day. You're never going to learn. Figure it out later. No, we got them up again. We're like, try to walk again and try to walk again and try to walk again. So just remember that as you start to develop this connection with people and you build these relationships, the trust factor is not going to come overnight. So I don't want you to give up because it's not there. It's going to take some time. And I know you guys don't want to hear this, but the best way to build the know, like, trust factor is by going live, because it just helps people get like an opportunity to know you, your mannerisms, the way you sound. Like, think about it. If you've never gone live on your profile or ever talked in your stories, no one on your social media even knows how your voice sounds. I don't know about you guys, but have you ever like heard someone's voice or saw them? Like I love when I go to business conventions and I see people like not on Zoom and in real life. And I'm like, whoa, that is not what I expected. Not in a bad way, but right. Like we make this assumption of how someone looks from here up or how they sound. And then you meet them and you're like, whoa, not what I expected. But when someone meets me, they know they're getting exactly what they expected because I'm live, I go on my stories and I talk. And you just know like my mannerisms and my personality. You probably just don't know that I'm super small, especially next to Haas. That's the only thing you're going to see and be like, whoa, I didn't know she was that small. Like, yeah, I am that small. My 5-year-old is like almost as big as me. So a couple things that are going to help you build this know, like, and trust factor when it comes to your social media is number one, establishing your brand and living in it. I'm going to keep talking about brand until I'm blue in the face. Establish your brand. It is so important to your entire social media, to you figuring out your niche, to you honestly just figuring out yourself and your purpose. Once you've figured out your brand and next comes who you're serving, you'll literally be able to like type out the easiest social media post because you're like, this is my brand, this is who I am, this is what I talk about. And again, it's not going to be for everybody, but you've got to just keep showing up in order for people to get to know, like, and trust you. Consistency and engagement matter always, right? Always. Lots of people start going live and then they just forget and life happens. And I know that, but just like the kid falling down when they're walking, get back up and keep walking, keep trying. Just try to be consistent to yourself as much as possible. Because remember, a big thing when it comes to know, like, and trust is your commitment. If you're going to get on social media and say, I work a business on social media, but you're not really on there very much, why would someone be like, I want to join her? She's going to help me work a business on social media, but doesn't really look like she is, right? So that's why too, even if you're in your business and you have 1 or 2 people on your team or no one on your team, you still work a business. You can still show up as a business owner. That's what's going to get people to want to partner with you. And I'm sure you guys have probably seen this more so around affiliate marketing, maybe on TikTok, but it's called UGC content. Okay. And leveraging your UGC content. Basically what that means is user generated content. And it's any type of content, including pictures, videos, testimonials, feedbacks, reviews from anybody in your audience. So content that's not generated by you as a brand, but by people who love your brand already. So a great idea, again, wow, I'm just full of them today, is when you make that post about 3 things that you like about you, that is UGC. That's user generated content because people are telling you what they like about you. So if you don't go post more about those things that they like about you and you decide you're going to go, oh, you know what? This person said that they really like when I go live, but that gives me the heebie-jeebies, so I'm not going to do it. I'm going to come over there and I'm just going to punch you right in the face. No, I'm just kidding. I won't do that. But seriously, imagine if someone told you, like, imagine if your spouse said, you know what? I really like when you cuddle me at night, and you're like, okay, well, I'm definitely not going to do that ever again. Right? It's like, put your mind at that. Like, so use that UGC content. And like I talked to you guys, I think it was last week or the week before, who knows, all my days are going together now, but about putting in your stories with a little poll, what content do you like that I provide? Or what content do you want to see more of? Or what do you want me to talk about? That's all UGC content because they're literally telling you what they want to see. They're literally telling you what makes them show up to your page. Another thing is get in front of the camera. Sprout Social, which is basically like a research website, because one of the things I do when I bring anything to you guys is I thoroughly research it before I even find that it's necessary to use. But Sprout Social showed that 63% of people agreed that when leaders practice increased transparency on social media, their audience feels more connected. So you want to keep acting like you have this really perfect life and you live in a glass house? That ain't working. It ain't working. People like to see real, authentic stuff, real reasons. You know, one of the things I have in here is like in my 31 days of relationship building is what's your goals for the next 5 years in your business? And I want you to be really blunt and honest with people. If it's earning the second rank and you've been in your business for 5 years, I don't care if that bothers you. There is someone that needs to see that success takes time. If it's buying, you know, your first house in the next 5 years, but everybody you know has already bought a house, who cares? It's your life. No one has any idea what's going on with your life, but you have to be authentic to your audience. I see so many people, they're like, well, I want the Lamborghini. Like, are you putting in Lamborghini work though in the next 5 years? So just be like, you know, be transparent and be authentic. For me, it's building our house. For me, it's I would really like to do like once a year family vacations. For me, it's having my mom's having her own little, don't tell her I said this, but I'm going to give her like a she shed near us, not in the same house, but like next door. She's going to have her own door. But there are certain things, you know, about that that make people know, like, and trust my business because I'm just being authentic and I'm being, you know, people would be like, oh, I want to build a house too. Is that something I could do if I started another business, a stream of passive income on top of what I'm already doing, or create a full-time, you know, whatever it might be. But allow people to get in and learn more about you and what you like. Maybe for you, it's a farm. Like I sent Kelly this really funny meme the other day about, it was one girl was in a closet with all these shoes and she's like, there's two types of girls. And then there was another one taking pictures of her chickens. And I was like, this is you. So if that's you, like, be authentic to your audience and say like, I don't need a Louis Vuitton. I'd rather have 20 chickens. That's you. That's okay. Don't try to be anybody that you're not, because people smell that too from a mile away. One of the things I want you to think about when you think relationship building content is, what do people think about you? What would, in your mind, if people were to say, oh, this is Jill, this is Michelle, like what would they think about you? And that's why I think really that is going to be a great post. I'm going to do that one today too. What are some things you think about when you think of me? I'm already thinking of what some of my friends from high school are going to say. I'll have to delete those. But okay, so what I've created for you today is 31 days, post live, real ideas, however you want to use them to help you generate more connection. These are definitely business branded posts. So I want you to get a little bit comfortable doing that. But I believe publishing more and more about your brand and you is what's going to get more people to know, like, trust, and partner with you. Almost want to add that on the end. And, you know, just remember that you can start today on your brand and positioning it on social media. But until you start doing that and you start to become consistent, it's just going to be a rat race all the time. You're going to feel like it's a constant rat race. So get really clear on who you are and what you represent, and then just start doing it. I'm going to show you this really quick because I know we're at 9:30, just so that you can see it. I'm going to share, actually what I'll do first is I'll share the link with you guys here. And then again, like I said, don't worry, I'll post it in the page, but I really just wanted to pass it to the people who are live first. It's a Google Doc. So if you don't have a Gmail, I'm gonna need you to get one. Okay. It's just the easiest way that I can share with you all. So just keep that in mind. I know it's not, and it's honestly the most user-friendly. So if I made a Canva template or something, I'm not Jess, God bless her. I suck at Canva. I need that Canva workshop too. So it's 31 days all on here. You're going to have to definitely stick your brand and yourself in here. But for example, share your story to get to where you are today. Y'all, I'm gonna have to go through and edit that, Lord. Sometimes Zane's talking to me while I'm doing this, so my wording's not all correct, but share your story to where you are today, right? I absolutely, when I started my business, like the fact of having to share that we lived in Haas's mom's upstairs, we shared a car and we were living paycheck to paycheck was nauseating to me. It was honestly embarrassing. I didn't like having to share that with people. But what was important to me was that other people needed to see that where we started and maybe where they are right now can take them to a different spot in their life if they change it. And so people need to see your struggle sometimes, for lack of a better word, to understand that there is a bright side. Okay. So get really like raw and vulnerable with your story. I'm not saying you have to share things that you don't want to share, but like so many of us are scared to share, like a big thing for me on wanting independence in my business and independence as a woman is when my parents got divorced, my mom had nothing. She had to sell all of her jewelry. We had to go on food stamps. We had to eat spaghetti 7 days a week or cereal. I will never put my kid in that situation. But until I start sharing that with people, they're not going to know who real Sydnee is, right? They look at me now and they see Louis Vuitton and first class flying and they're like, oh yeah, she's always had that. Her parents have money. No, I built that stuff for myself. So you have to be really comfortable sharing that. Some things that are going to make you feel a little vulnerable, how my fails taught me about my success, right? Like, a good one for that is, I'm just speaking for me because that's a little bit easier. I learned in this business that you have to separate personal and business relationships, or you're going to create a lot of drama on your team, which is going to create a lot of issues for you in your life. And I could go into depth for that for probably another hour, but we don't need to. So there are just going to be certain things on here that you can do. And I really encourage you to get vulnerable in sharing it. What would I do if I had to start my journey over again? Lord have mercy. I would have a list of things. Some of the things on here, I think number 26, I have twice, so I'm going to have to change that. But 3 things I do every day to get a specific result, work or life. Maybe it's 3 things I do every day to make sure I have a good day. I get up, I show gratitude, I eat a healthy breakfast, I exercise, I read my Bible, I go outside, I get some fresh air if you don't live in Michigan. Things like that are just going to give people an opportunity to get to know the real you. And if you struggle with sharing some of the stuff on here, that's why I gave you 31 days. I don't expect you to do the next 31 days every single day. And honestly, I wouldn't do that if I were you. I would probably, I say 3 to 4 times a week making a post. So maybe you take for the next week, because you should incorporate your own posts and you should go live. You should go live once a week. Okay. If that's, where you're getting started, but maybe take this for once a week. You're going to make like a vulnerable post once a week, just giving people the opportunity to know, like, and trust. And what a great thing to do on the end of these is I would do something like some sort of call to action. Like maybe if it is a, share your story to where you are today, maybe at the bottom you can do, one thing, like a question, like, what's something about your life that has changed from growing up till now? And allow people to share that with you. Because I think, again, so many of us, because we hide behind social media and we hide behind screens, we don't realize that you have a lot in common with other people, but you're not asking those questions. You're not engaging and, going in and saying what's new with you or where are you at in life, or, just kind of the stuff that will allow you to pitch in position, just like Ray Higdon was saying, pitch in position. And a lot of us have issues with that in our business because we're pitching out of position. So I'm going to change 26. I should be able to change it while you guys are in here because I see multiple people have joined it. It says anonymous goose, anonymous squirrel, anonymous fox. Wow, this is hilarious. Okay. It's giving you guys little animal characters. So anywho, if there's anything on there though that you have questions about, I will post it in the Hustle and Slay page probably tomorrow. I want to give you an opportunity to get a little heads up on everybody, and definitely why we encourage everybody to come on here live so we can give you resources. And if you have questions about things, just feel free to message me. You guys know where to find me. Thanks for always showing up. Have a great Monday. Jess will be here Wednesday, 9 a.m. And we'll see you next time. Bye, friends.